Hey folks, I'm going to do some more work on the Volkswagen Beetle. Basically some finishing touches here. So I had taken the paint off. Of course, as soon as I start filming, that's when the dehumidifier is going to go. Sorry about that, folks. It's the nature of being in a basement. So, anyway, I stripped the blue paint that I had on here earlier because it got bumpy and it just didn't coat well. Had a bad finish. So I replaced it with this navy blue color, which is not as nice, but it does seem like it's an authentic color for the Beetle. You know, for those of you that are really serious about authenticity. Of course, now I'm trying to go through the years here and find it. Okay, so it's not too different from that, and that's kind of what I was going for. So it's not too off. I think this is a little more bluer, a little more pastel-ish, well, than this, a little darker, but it'll do. And to be fair, this kit, as we had been talking about over the last several episodes, it was kind of a mess to begin with. It had been through a lot. It had been stripped of paint earlier. So, alright, so I don't know if you can see inside there, but I got the interior details, a little bit of detail on the dashboard. Got the steering wheel in there now. Got the basic cloth color. Although, when I put the windows in, I was a little disappointed because these windows are fairly thick and kind of cloudy. So you really can't see much inside the car. You can see a little bit of detail, but not much because it's just not, they're not good windows. Which is kind of a shame because for the inside, since I wanted to make this car for a spy. Now here's the inside. I don't know if you can see that well. So I added a jerry can in the back, some wire cutters, I don't know if you can see that, and a submachine gun on the on the seat there. So I wanted to have some fun because I'm looking at having a female super agent spy. Is the idea of what I was going to do with this car. Have this vehicle operated by her in kind of a sort of James Bond scenario that I'm slowly starting to work on. I've got a few other cars that I'm going to put in a scene. So my thought being that I was going to have this parking lot with a few cars, and there's going to be like a little outdoor cafe where the kind of like where the heroes and villains are going to be hanging out, sort of feeling each other out kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that's in my head anyway. Well, I've got some figures to start working on that idea, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so a lot of this model really tended to be painting and scraping paint and trying to get things to fit. So it's not the greatest fit, to be honest, but it does work, and you can, yeah, right, I had this a minute ago. You can kind of pop it in, which is what I'm going to try to do. I don't know if I want to glue that because it's, we'll see. I may have to do some touch-up work where the headlights go. I'm going to use the clear headlights that I've got here. Of course, I'm not going to see that because they're see-through anyway, but I did paint a little bit of silver around where the metal frame of the lights are, and they're going to go on the front, but I think I'm going to need to paint some silver around here because otherwise it's going to be a blue light. It's going to look kind of weird. So that's where that is. I've been working on the wheels, painting those. I'm going to try to leave a white rim for a bit of interest, shall we say. So I'm going to see what I can do to add some of these final pieces on here, which or bumpers and tail lights, door handles, that sort of stuff. Some pieces may be missing on this model. I'm going to try to put the wheels on now, which I'm going to need this sheet for. Yes, I do. Okay, I don't know if that's going to work that direction, so we're having those going afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. I have my doubts, but let's see. I'll try to file some of this while it's still on the tree here. I think they intend to have these little circular tabs go into the wheels. I think their plan was to have these snap in or pop in so you can have the wheels turn well. I don't know how well that's going to work. Let's see. That goes there. A little bit of paint to take off on this. It was a very delicate job of painting and scraping because you need some detail here and there, and you need to glue pieces on. Well, there goes the dehumidifier. At least that was brief. Hopefully that wasn't too annoying for you. I'd hate to have to reshoot this. Okay. So let's see if these pieces will work the way that they intend them to. Sometimes that's a problem with a model, is that they have a plan for how things are supposed to go, and of course not everything goes according to plan, right? So I'm going to see if that can go in the way they think it does, and it doesn't look like it wants to. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Getting some fireworks happening outside. Festive all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to do. I think the idea is they want these wheels to turn, but I think that is a tall order. I am not going to worry about the wheels turning because I don't think it's just not going to happen. You could make it happen, but you'd have to do an awful lot of sanding, scraping, and so forth to try to get it so the wheels can turn, because these pieces that are supposed to help it to turn, and yeah, they really don't. I'm going to glue them and call it a day. It doesn't look like this would be an effective toy anyway. Paint bottle to hold it up. My main concern right now is just to get them all on the vehicle and not like this or wobbly or something of that nature. Yeah. I know. Unnecessary sound effects, but hey. I'm trying to jazz the video up a little bit. You know, what if the parts were alive and they screamed when you cut them? Adding dramatic flair. Yeah, that's not gonna. Put a blob of glue on here. Put that wheel on. Yeah, see what I mean? That wheel wants to go on a very odd angle. Which, I don't know if I can prevent it from doing that. Because that part's bent. Well, what I could do is try to make it turn, both wheels turn in the direction so it looks like it's supposed to be going off to the right a little bit. Yeah, because it's kind of what it's doing. Well, if parts are going to be bent, I'm glad they're bent in unison, so it looks like it's starting to take a right turn, which, okay, at least it's uniform. You'd hate the car to look like it's knock-kneed or something, right? Or bow-legged, or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just, you know, joking around. Because the suspension, it was fiddly, and it's kind of going in some angles here. Which doesn't surprise me too much. Why not? Because everything else in the model kind of fought me, so why not the suspension too? Still optimistic this is going to look nice when it's done. It won't look like a brand new car because it just doesn't have a very good finish to it, so it's going to be an older car anyway. And actually, when I was looking through the book, the way the window designs are on this car, it looks like this is a 66 Beetle. I'm not an expert, but that's seemed to match the pictures in the book. And who knows, maybe that's when this model came out originally. Okay, let's get this last wheel. Let's test fit it first, make sure it's not going to do something ridiculous. Okay, that's a little loose, but I think we can get that to do some glue. There we go. I don't like the rear tires that much. They're kind of going on an angle also, and you really don't want the rear tires going on an angle because they're not supposed to. Okay, give that a minute to dry. Maybe that's what the stand was for, to help you hold it while you're building it. I don't know, I don't think so, but still not sure why you'd want the stand to have it up in the air. Anybody have any thoughts on why it would be in the air? Anyone? Is it jumping, maybe? Kind of crazy, kind of crazy. All right, I see the door handles. Gotta try the chrome parts for those. I did use a couple of the chrome parts inside, oops, for the emergency brake and the shift. So there are some chrome parts there. Which, like I said, if the glass was better on this model, you would at least be able to see that through the windows, but the glass is kind of atrocious, really, by the age of the model. Okay, I think I'm on the other sheet of paper. Yes, I am. For the door handles. And it shows some turn signals, which I don't think are in the box. That I might have to figure. There's a few parts that aren't here. I can see some other parts. It's supposed to go in the back that aren't here either. So yeah, let me consult the book of Beetle. Well, maybe it's not a 66. It's got a different. Got a different engine release on the back. When did it have those latches on the back to open up the back door? The engine compartment is what I'm getting at. There's a 62. Did the 62 have that? Yeah, 62 did. Maybe it's a 62. Probably not that either. Who knows? Anyway, okay, so that's where the engine door has this little T-shaped access hatch. Noisy evening here in Providence. Everybody's out. Except for me, apparently. Oh, that's a tiny part. Yikes. Okay, that is going to go. Yeah, it's a lot of scraping and stuff I can see on the back of this model from whoever was trying to build this before. So I got to scrape some paint here so I can get this latch in there. I don't know, I'm not convinced it's going to fit right. Try it. Tiny pieces that don't want to go in. No, of course it doesn't. Oh, there it is. Alright, because it's going to go in the up and down position. Well, being chrome, it does show up. I don't know if you can see that from there. Little latch on the back. And I painted the detail on that rear vent. So, dun dun dun, let's try. There's tail lights. Consult the book again. Try to get the angle on these things. What year is this one? 1990 Mexico. No, it's different. It's not that. Tail line. Oh, I see how they go. Let's get the tail lights again. All right. Sure hope all the noises that are going on outside are not showing up on camera here, because it's a rather noisy night here. It's a crazy all night. Okay. Problem with the chrome parts is you're supposed to take the chrome finish off the area that you're going to glue. Chrome was a very popular modeling technique for a while, but I haven't seen this being done in a while now. I'm not sure why it went out of style. I guess maybe paint got better. Ah, gonna scrape just right here. Scraping is not my favorite thing to do, but sometimes you have to. Little bit of glue. Little bit of glue. Hold that together there, and come on. Alright, let's try the other direction. Did I drop it? I think I dropped it. Oh no, it's stuck on the back of the car over here. Wah, wah. Okay, and there it is. That did not fit as well as I would like. That could be on better than that. I have to do some more work. I'll show you in a second. I know I'm way over here, you can't quite see this. I'm aware. Oops. This is kind of a tiny workstation I've got in my basement, so it wasn't really designed well for cameras. So I do have a spot down the end with a nice clamp. That's where the camera is right now. Come on. Whew. Okay, so there's one of the tail lights. I know it took a lot of work for such a small piece. Hopefully you can see that there. I'll hold it for a second. Hope it adjusts. All right. Try the other one, which hopefully will be easier because now that I know what I'm doing, they're monkeying around with that piece. Scrape, 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 scrape. We got into a scrape. Ow. Gotta be careful with a knife. Scrape, 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 scrape. And dee 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 dee. Oh yeah. Dab of glue there. And keep wanting to put this on upside down. Come on. Why are you fighting me? Why don't you want to work? Come on. Okay, that seems to be on. It's on a weird angle, but okay. All right, tail lights are on. Okay. I think that just leaves us with door handle. Oh, we got the door handles, and I'm gonna, like I said, the headlights, I'm gonna have to do some work with that. I gotta paint around, get some silver in there. Let's see, door handles. And then the hubcap covers will go on those. What was this? Oh, that is a trunk release thing. Where does that? Oh gosh, I don't like where that goes. The trunk is on the front on the old Volkswagens. That's why I'm looking at the front of the car. Of course, if you're from Britain, it's not a trunk. It's a boot. The trunk is the boot in England, and that's where you put your stuff. You put it in the boot. And the hood that covers your engine, in Britain, it's called the bonnet. So the bonnet, you lift the bonnet to get at your engine. So you get a boot and a bonnet. Interesting, huh? Speak the same language, but a lot of expressions are different. Which can lead to a lot of confusion when you're visiting. Like the elevator in Britain is a lift. Really? It's supposed to go there, huh? Yeah, right. Oy. Well, why not continue the tradition of everything on this model car giving me a problem? Right? Yeah, that's not fitting at all. Give me something to work with here. Alright, that's not too bad. Ugh. There's a lot of dents in the plastic and chips. So I'm going to have fun painting some rusted spots and some primer and make it look like the car's dented and needs some repair work. You may as well, because the model does, right? I put a touch of gloss on this to give it a bit of a shine, but I didn't want too much of a shine because I didn't want it to look like a brand new car, because it clearly is not. So I want it to look, well, match the actual appearance of the kit, because it looks worn out. So I'll make it a worn out car. Okay. So you get the door handles, the tail lights, so the door handles. The chrome is nice actually, because it really shines and shows up pretty good. Would have been nice if they actually gave you some windshield wipers. They got these bad molded on things. You got the pretender wipers. Alright, let me see if I can get a spot ready for the trunk release. I'm not a big fan of that tiny part. Itty bitty. Itty bitty piece. I could easily disappear. I gotta be careful with this so it doesn't go flying on me. I'm not a fan of that. Really not a fan of that. Come on, just a tiny bit of glue. Hold my breath and... Okay. Slide into place. Oh, don't be difficult. Of course you're going to be difficult. Why wouldn't you, right? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You're so close. So close. Come on. Slide over a little bit. Come on. You know what? That's not bad. I'm going to just leave it like that. Okay. Ugh. If I got the right angle in that. Watch it be upside down or something crazy. No, it's not. It's all right. Okay. That's right. I was going to put the hubcaps on that. I know, I'm sounding old. Hubcaps. I don't know. Usually we have rims now. Do we even have hubcaps anymore? Like, my parents always, we always had old cars growing up. So I'm used to hubcaps and other strange things because my parents, my father liked to, he was a bit of a backyard mechanic. He's very good with engineering and he was a draftsman, so he liked tinkering with things. So we tended to have a lot of old cars. Well, not a lot, but growing up we had... For example, I learned how to drive on a 1968 Chevy Malibu. Now, obviously, I'm not that old, but we still had the car. Actually, it was my aunt's car, and she didn't drive it much. It was one of those cars we picked up from my aunt. And it had very low mileage, considering, I'm not going to say what year it was, but it was many years after the 60s, let's put it that way. And so it was almost a new car because it had such low mileage. And it was in great shape. So yeah, I learned how to drive in at least it was automatic, but a 68 Chevy Malibu, yeah. So right now I'm trying to scrape some of the silver plating, the chrome here, off the back of the hubcap so I have a spot to be able to glue. If I thought of it, I could have done this before we started rolling film. So you wouldn't have to watch me scrape all this stuff, but this is the nitty-gritty of model building right here. This is the not so glamorous part. Seems like half a model building is cutting, filing, and sanding things. Okay. Blech. Yuck all over the place. Okay, so there's a little, I don't know if you probably won't be able to see it, but the hubcaps do have the VW Volkswagen logo on there. So when I put them on, I want to make sure I got the VW. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter. I guess it might spin, but I kind of want it so you can read it. some of these other ones. Yeah, they did move around. I wasn't sure if the VW logo was a centralized thing that didn't move. And part of the axle. Anyway. I'm going to put one on. I'm probably going to cut the filming at that point because I think you're getting the idea. I'll just have the bumpers to do afterwards, which are more chrome pieces. I'll do one more so you get the idea here. You can see that the humidity is going up. As my humidifier keeps coming on here, dehumidifier keeps coming back on as we roll into summer here. And as you can see, the wheels glued. I gotta say, I kind of like these chrome pieces. I'm gonna put this on, pop it on for now. There we go. There's a little bit of work, but so that's how we are there. Got to look at the bumpers real quick. See, it's not too bad. It's not a glamorous looking model because the finish and everything is not great. There's a lot of pits and scratches, so which one's supposed to be front? Don't have a license plate. The front one goes in front. I'm thinking 1966. Oh, it's not a 66. So I wonder which one it is. 68? Yeah, it could be the 68. That's more basic style of bumper. But, alright. Just to give the idea, this is going to do. Gonna go in the front like so. I have a license plate. I'll come up with something for that. This one's gonna go in the back. Alright, and then I'll get the headlights because I need to do some painting and scraping to get the headlights. But basically, there you go. That's what this MPC Airfix model kit looks like. And again, this is one from Airfix that's around nowadays that you can find. Although I don't know if I would recommend that because it does have a lot of work involved. But there she is. Okay, hope you enjoyed our model building workshop. Hope you enjoyed the Volkswagen.